Alright then, so here we go. Next, Rebirth episode's character, Jakka Yamamoto. Who's surprised? But here we go, Ryujin Jakka. I'm somewhat excited for him, in all honesty. Nice. Wait, is he using his Shikai right away? Okay, so we have another Gauge character. We'll read that in a second. Is this a burnt down Soul Society? Spiritual Pressure move 1 seems to be a pushback attack. Makes sense. Like a little vortex attack for his spiritual pressure too. I guess this is when he fights Ichigo, right? Or does some fight in Soul Society. Okay, so his awakening is Ryujin Jakka again? Is that it? I mean, I'm liking it. It'd be funny if he took off his shirt. Oh, wait, no way. What now? As if I just called that. There's a reason why he said that, because he does do that attack against Wonder Wise. All right, so let's just rewind and take a wait to see there, because I didn't catch on to anything. So starting off, we have the head captain who stands above all other storybirds. His most powerful flame Zanpakuto is capable of burning down everything, and that's definitely the case. I've been quite vocal about it too. While I do very much appreciate the captain coat design, and I really do like characters wearing their captain coats, I think in games, especially with the way the models are built, and that's not even a criticism of how they look in game, I just don't like characters wearing the coats. They look too, I don't know, it just looks uncomfortable for a fight. So I'm kind of hoping that we do get some potential costumes where they aren't using the captain coat. I mean, with Yamamoto, I don't think he ever fights without it off, besides when he takes off all his, you know, clothes, right? But it's one of the main reasons why I loved Yamamoto's Bankai design. Besides, obviously, it's him using his Bankai. It's him without the captain coat. I think it just looks a lot cooler. But I do very much like his intro animation. Him activating his Shikai. It looks cool. But having a look at his gauge, we have the Inferno gauge, Hellfire state. The Inferno gauge will accumulate by activating flash attack and signature move, etc. Inferno gauge will decrease when quick actions land on the opponent. The more Inferno gauge accumulates, the more power it will increase. And when the gauge reaches its maximum, it changes into a Hellfire state. During the Hellfire state, the power will be enhanced, but the ratio will decrease automatically. So likely you're going to be in this state for a short amount of time, but it's an extra way for this character to deal more damage. And I'm liking the fact that we are getting more gauge characters, right? I think at this point in time, we have like 4 or 5 gauge characters. It took us a while before we started to see more characters with this mechanic. I think Toshu was the first character to have it. But like 3 characters in the last like 2 months have been revealed to have this gauge effect, which I very much do appreciate. So seems simple enough. His gauge requirement does seem similar, yet different to other characters. In this case, you want to use flash attacks. You want to use signature moves, which you can spam. So they don't actually show the signature moves. So I'm very curious to see what that is potentially going to be. And I guess you don't want to use quick attacks, because that would decrease the amount of gauge that you are building up. So you have to be careful when using this character. And I guess if anything, he might just be a signature move spammer. If he has a good signature move, then it very well might be something you want to do. After that, though, we have his first spiritual pressure move, Shiranui. Attacked by releasing the flame forward. Yamamoto will then be in the Hellfire state when activated, and the damage will increase after activating with a long press down input. So this seems to be an attack that you can just activate quickly or hold it down. And I think the 2 examples they gave us, I don't think they actually hold it down. Unless it has been held down, but the animation or startup time seems very similar to other characters, right? But it just seems to be a slash forward, maybe have some decent range to it. And I guess his first spiritual pressure move is always going to be hitting hard, because it will activate the Hellfire stage. So that's kind of crazy. I wonder if his second spiritual pressure move is going to be similar. And there's a lot of text here, damn. So first up, the technique will change depending on whether Yamamoto is in Hellfire state or not. So when you're not, I assume you're using Taimatsu. When you are, using Narigiri. Taimatsu, which is the normal state, activates a low power attack. The Inferno gauge will not accumulate for a certain period of time after activation, however. But when you are in the Hellfire state, you will then do Narigiri, release a very powerful slash covered with massive flames. However, the Hellfire state will be removed after activating. So if what I'm getting at here, what we can potentially do with this character is use your first spiritual pressure move, and that will activate the Hellfire state. And then you can combo that potentially into the second spiritual pressure move, where you are then doing more damage, releasing a more powerful attack with Narigiri, but at the same time, it will then deactivate, remove the Hellfire state. So there's a potential combination you can do with his first and second spiritual pressure move. With that said, though, do we get to see the difference of animations? I don't think they show us the difference. I can't really tell the difference. I assume this is Narigiri. in both animations. I don't think they actually show what Taimatsu looks like, because animation-wise, it looks the exact same, but I'm assuming that's going to be an attack. Just seems straightforward attacks in front of you. Going to be really good. Maybe hit multiple times where you can potentially combo. So this is going to be his awakening. So once you do awaken, Yamamoto's performance will be enhanced by increasing the power output of his Shikai. So he is technically our first character, by the way, where he doesn't actually awaken into something else. Like at base, he's using Shikai, and then when he awakens, he's still using Shikai. It just gets stronger. So what this potentially does mean on the topic of Mugetsu Ichigo, right? Because that's a big character we're talking about. I believe Mugetsu is going to be playable, or at least Dangai Ichigo will be playable. And my big question with Dangai Ichigo was, what would his awakening be? Because thus far, we haven't seen the character awaken into something that is basically nothing, if that makes sense. In the case for, you know, Ryujin Jakka here, he was already using it, and he awakens and just makes it look more flashy, more stronger. So in the case for Dangai Ichigo, his awakening might not even change his appearance. It might just make him stronger. Maybe he locks in. That's like the idea, maybe. And then in the topic of Mugetsu, right? Maybe that won't be playable, but it will likely be his finishing attack, him activating Mugetsu. They could have definitely went down the other route where he actually is in Dangai and his awakening is Mugetsu. But if they want to make it lore accurate and technically you can't move around all too much in Mugetsu, it's really just there to do the final Getsuga Tensho. I guess this could be our first sign on how they might handle Dangai Ichigo in terms of what awakening he might have, where visually he will look the same, just become stronger, I guess. But going back to it, this will increase the amount of Reishi that he does have, so I believe that's his HP, and also increase the damage of his Shikai. And I guess this makes up for the fact that they do say here that he has low agility, but he will have overwhelming power. So he might be a somewhat slow character, but if you get caught in attack, well, that might be game over for you. And then we get to see an example of attacks here. I like his animations, especially when he does activate his awakening. And then we also do get to see him take off his shirt, which is the attack that he does do to Wonder Wise, I'm pretty sure. So that might be his finisher. Or maybe... Nah, there's no way he has a reawakening, right? They surely would have showed that. But remember, there are times where they don't show everything, right? Aizen's gameplay last week, they didn't even show his monster form. Not to say that's going to be playable, it likely will be his finisher attack, but they didn't even show any of his animations because they had to go through all the forms. So remember, with characters like this, they don't showcase everything. However, since I'm a day late to this, we can go to their website and check out maybe more information about someone like Yamamoto. I wish they would post this like right away when the characters get revealed on Monday, but they always post it like 24 hours later. So since I'm posting this a day later, we do get to actually check out a bit more information about this character. And again, this is only on the Japanese website, so if the English is a bit iffy, that's maybe why. Now, one thing to point out with Yamamoto is actually similar to Aizen that we covered last week, is that he is now the second character to have a 2-star ease of use, which makes him potentially one of the more difficult characters to master. But if you master them, maybe they're going to be significantly better. What makes this character hard to use? I'm really not too sure, but I guess we might find that out when we learn more about the game and actually get our hands on it. In terms of his unique skill or signature move, it unleashes a powerful wide-range slash wrapped in flames. It is possible to form another attack with additional output. So that's one of the skills that we actually don't see showcased in that 1-minute gameplay. And since it's a wide-range slash attack, that might be, again, an attack you want to spam just to activate the, or take most of the Hellfire state, right? If we scroll down, we can see here, I briefly spoke about maybe he has a reawakening. He doesn't, it would say here. So if anything, the main thing that we do learn here with this particular character profile is what his potential signature move does do, and it just seems to be a simple attack forward. Since we are here, though, I do want to quickly talk about Aizen from last week, right? Because I did get a few comments, and I saw people say, you know, they don't actually do anything regarding his potential Kyokusugetsu, right? Because there's a clear focus on the Hogaku fusion. Now, it actually does say here, at the start of the battle, the effect of Kyokusugetsu consumes the reverse gauge and allows them to nullify some characters' soul-destroying techniques once. So I believe that is going to be when you actually remove their stock, their Konpaku for the most part. So this Aizen, for those that were wondering, does actually have a Kyokusugetsu effect, and that seems quite powerful. It's a one-time use, but I'm hoping the animation for that is actually really cool. And like I said, Aizen is another character where he has a 2-star ease of use feature that might make him a tad bit more difficult to use. But for those that were wondering, because I did also mention it last week too, and for those that are wondering too, because I was wondering this, his reawakened state does actually have to have him die. Similar to Full Hollow Ichigo, since when they activate these forms in the anime, it's right before they technically died. In this case, it was when Gin used his Bankai. So when his HP does reach 0, that's when you fuse with the Hogaku, and that's when you get revived. It's actually a really cool effect, and I'm glad to see that on Aizen. And in terms of where I'd rank Yamamoto, it's kind of a tough one because Yamamoto is actually really cool, but for me, it's one of those characters that I don't really care about him all that much besides the Bankai activation. I think his Bankai moment is like so much cooler than anything he's done in the past, despite him having some cool moments again against Ion, against Wonder White, against Aizen too, right? Would I be excited to play with him? He's definitely not a potential main, at least for me. I like the gauge effect though, so I'll probably rank him around here, probably. Maybe I am putting him on a higher pedestal, to be fair, but it's Yamamoto. Yamamoto's cool. If it was Bankai Yamamoto, it would be like here. Like, it'd be top 3, in all honesty. I really like Bankai Yamamoto. As for his Shikai, it's kind of whatever, right? But he's definitely someone I want to try out, especially him and Aizen, considering that right now, again, they're the only 2 characters with that 2-star ease of use rating. So I want to know what makes them hard to use. With Aizen, he does kind of have a lot going on, but at the same time, Aizen looks quite overpowered. If anything, he should be maybe 5-star, right? You get a free potential revive. You get to stop them from destroying your Konpaku with the Kyokusugetsu, which seems to be an automatic effect. You have all these cool transformations that make the character stronger. I really can't see how Aizen is considered a 2-star character. Likewise with Yamamoto. They don't look any more complicated compared to past characters that we have seen that are maybe 5-star, easy to use characters. But like I said earlier in the video, Yamamoto I think is a good example of how they are going to handle Dangai Ichigo with his awakening, just looking the same visually, just becoming stronger basically, right? So he's an example of not every character that does awaken needs to get a new effect, because every character thus far with their awakening, something happens. They activate their Shikai, their Bankai, they transform with their resurrection, they activate Shunko, for example. Yama right now is the first character where he doesn't really do anything visually upon awakening, and that's what you can expect with someone like Dangai Ichigo. And now I guess the question is, who is going to be revealed next, right? We know the game is coming out in March, so there's like at least 10 plus more characters to go. Hopefully some cool characters. Really not sure what to expect next. I am expecting Sergeant and Shunsui to be playable in the game. Maybe they can showcase them soon. We still have some Espada to get shown. We haven't obviously seen every Espada just yet. We've only seen 3 Espada, and I'm expecting at least Noritora to be playable. So expecting him to be shown. If anything, maybe Noritora is my prediction for next week. At the same time, maybe we could get Stark and also Hallibell revealed. I do believe they will be playable. So maybe for like the next month or 2, next like 4 or 5 weeks, we might just be focused on Espada, but we won't know that until next week if we start to get them. We could just go back to Lieutenants for all we know. But either way, let me know what you guys think about Yamamoto in the console. I think it looks pretty cool, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.